I mean, at the end of the day, we know that the Board of Governors and the league, they have a mission to, drive revenue and increase excitement in the game and overall grow this league. And so we respect that, that's their role. And, really as players, if that's what we're doing, we're behind that. I think coming from a PA standpoint, right, we're focused on the collective health and safety of the players as well as, growing with league success. So, to some degree, we don't call the shots, but we're all part of this together if that makes sense.
Is there any one change that kind of caught your eye more than another? You're expecting, not expecting? Or?
Being a part of the executive board, me and the board were briefed ahead of time on these changes, so we've had some time to, bring our thoughts back to Stuart and their board and have some dialogue. So, I know for a lot of the players across the league would be all brand new today. I've had some time to digest it. So, but regarding that, I mean, I kind of already said it. I mean, this is a bit of Stuart's vision in driving this game forward, and we're going to stand behind it as long as that's taking care of player safety and us growing in the game. We're happy.
Is there anything in these rules that might concern you about player safety, like the clock maybe, or like it feels like even the players having to be on opposite sidelines, that's probably a benefit for everybody?
Yeah, players on the opposite sideline, I think that's the way that it should be all the time. I mean, it's just very hard for substitutions when you're at the far end and you got to run all the way down to the 2-yard line on the other side. Teams use that to their advantage. They'll change personnel groups and make all your guys have to run, and then in the midway they'll change their personnel group back, and then you got to run them all the way back. There's a game within the game there. So yeah, sidelines is better. I mean, obviously a field goal post at the front of the end zone, it is unique about the CFL, but there is a health and safety component there. Thankfully, we don't see and haven't seen a lot of incidences with the goalposts, but that's purely because, offensive coordinators are smart. They're not trying to run their players or anybody into the post for the most part, and so it rarely ever happens. But you see the talking points of really what the league expects. More open end zones for more target throws. Less throws just to the corner of the end zone. And opening up the playbook in terms of how they can access the end zone.
Mission was to make the game more exciting. Does this, do you believe, help make the game more exciting?
Well, I mean, listen, I think the game comes down to coaching, right? So, I think what Dave says, what he sees, what the other coaches around the league see, how they want to call plays is going to tell you really the answer. I can only speculate. I can say with the goalpost out of the middle of the field, I can say it's going to be harder to defend the end zone, right? Yeah, it's 15 yards, not 20 now, but it's still a lot of space, and so it's harder to defend the end zone. So, I can say that with certainty.
Your thoughts on a 100-yard field? Not a lot. Doesn't sound like a lot, but does that impact how you might face offenses?
I'm not necessarily thinking that's going to change much because, if anything, you're looking at, where does the field goal kicker now have to get to be able to make makeable field goals? Now, currently you're at a 40-yard field goal. That's really, a 47 and a half. But if you're on the 40 and the fit back in the end zone, that's a 62, I think, and a half-yard field goal now, if my math's right on the spot here. So, you got to get field goal position much further into positive territory. So I don't know what's that going to do to play calling. Is it going to make play calling more aggressive, or is that going to call play calling to punt more and kind of try to tag it into the corner of the end zone? Yet to be seen, but like I said, Dave and the other coaches are going to have a much better opinion on how they're going to call the game with these rules.
One of the things they talked about was creating 10% more touchdowns, more offense, more exciting. As a defensive guy, how does that make you feel when you hear the game's getting more exciting by bringing in more touchdowns?
Well, let me tell you this. I've been on rules committee now, I think, for 4 years, and the number one mandate we hear is we want to, we're looking to score more touchdowns, and I'm the guy over here guys, I play defense,
Yeah.
Hey, I play defense. But I get it. Scoring is exciting. But from a defensively, it has gotten harder to play defense with how you have to, more or less look after taking care of offensive players. I think defense is exciting from the physical nature of opposing your will on offenses and making your presence known. So as long as we can still do that, I think, we can still be known for defense. But, this league is very unique in the way it's played, the motion and the creativity It's exciting. It leads to more scoring. I think, Katie Lawler going up in double coverage and catching the ball is freaking awesome. I love it, So, I mean, more scoring is better for enjoyment, but just cheer for defense too, all right?